Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Captain Clyde's MTG for a lazy Sunday as we're going to dive into Commander Leaks for the Brothers War. That's right, all the Commander Leaks are already out. I didn't cover them during the normal leaks because, well, they're Commander cards. I didn't want to get you guys mixed up or confused. So let's take a look at all the Commander Leaks really quick. Should be a quick video. And then after that, stay tuned for a couple Jumpstart previews on Monday. And as always, be on the lookout for my pack attack short videos as I crack a pack of cards almost every day, unless I forget or get tired or fall asleep on the couch. Anyway, I'm professional, I swear. So anyhow, be on the lookout for that. And as always, we're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, so make sure you sub up. It means a lot to me, maybe not a lot to you, but I do appreciate it. So with that all said, let's take a look at these commander cards in groups. So starting off with, take a look at these beauties. These are the lands from the commander deck. I just want to give a little shout out real quick. These things are beautiful. They really harken back to the old days of Magic with the old frame. I'm not gonna lie to you, they hit me right in the cockles, maybe the sub cockles, right in the heart. You know, these things are very pretty to me. If these were in foil with a star, across the bottom, oh, the memories, sweet, sweet memories. Anyway, so yeah, just a quick call out for that because I gotta admit it's pretty cool. So without further ado, into the actual cards. First, we've already went over Mishra, the Iniminant One, Urza, the Chief Artificer. If you want to see what those look like, feel free to read them real quick. I'm not gonna bore you guys again with them. We have Ashnod the Uncaring finally. Red, black, and blue, which means she'll be in the Mishra deck. And 2 for a 1/4 Death Touch. Activating ability of an artifact, creature, or creature. It isn't a mana ability. If one or more permanent sacrifice to activate it, you may copy it. Pretty neat. We have Twanos, the Soul Survivor. I don't know what deck he's in, but anyway. 1 and a blue for a 1/3/2 tap. Make a token that's a copy of up to one target artifact you control. Mill 2 cards. For black, blue, and white, that must be Urza's deck. So we now know who's on what side. Sacrifice 2 artifact tokens, exile an artifact or a creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of the exile card, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. That's very interesting. It says artifact or creature cards. So this could be very powerful for 4 mana, depending on how you build your deck. And then over here we have a human pilot, the Sunwall Avenger, white 1 for a 3/1, as long as an artifact creature controls attack and prevent all damage that would be dealt to the Avenger. Pretty cool. Whenever he becomes tapped, exile top 6 cards of your library. You may cast a vehicle or artifact creature spell from among them. Put the rest in the bottom random order. That is insane for a 2-drop that could go into any vehicle deck, and you could tap him without swinging, and not have to put him in danger, and you can still just mill through the top of your deck like it's nothing. Or just attack with an artifact and him, because then you prevent all damage to him, so then he's safe as well. But the best way to use him definitely would be to crew artifacts and just spew out more of them. Pretty cool. All right, so next we have another group here. We have the Scholar of New Horizons, white and 1 for a 1/1. Enters a battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on him. You tap or remove the counter from a permanent you control, which could also be him. Search your library for a Plains card, reveal it. If an opponent controls more lands than you may put that card directly on the battlefield tapped. If you don't put that card on the battlefield, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Almost like a land tax. Will be really great in a counters deck, although like a white-green counters deck or token deck maybe. It seems really cool. It's cheap, easy to get out, and I'm not going to lie, searching for a Plains card is really powerful in Commander. Think about it. It says Plains card, not basic. So you can get all those white tri-lands that you want, or even dual lands, so it's pretty sweet. We have Glint Raker, blue and 3 for a 1/3. He gets +X/+0, where X is the highest mana value among artifacts you control. When it deals combat damage to a player, may reveal that many cards top your library. Put an artifact card revealed this way into your hand, the rest on the bottom. It's about average. If it lives, it's going to be a pretty cool card. If it doesn't live, that's probably going to be expected because it does have 3 in the butt, which means it is very boltable in several ways, but seems to be pretty powerful. Next, we have the March of Progress, blue and 2. Choose target artifact creature you control. For each creature chosen this way, create a token that's a copy of it. Cool thing about this, it has Overload 7, so you could literally copy your entire board if you have a large one. This is going to be a powerhouse and probably very playable, especially in a few of the Warhammer Commander decks. So then we have Tesseri's Devastation, 2 black, 2 and X. It says here you lose X life, create X tapped Power Stone tokens. Then all creatures get -1/-1 to end of turn for each artifact you control. It's a very expensive Wrath, but it's also a ramp spell. So it could do some serious damage, especially in the Commander deck. Next we have Wire Surgeons, 2 black and 4 for a 6/5. Has Fear. Each artifact creature card in your graveyard has Encore. Its Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. Encore basically means that you exile it, pay its mana cost, which would be its casting cost. And for each opponent, create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste, sacrifice them at getting your next step. This is a very powerful card for you to Encore your entire deck out of your graveyard back onto the battlefield. However, for 6 mana, it might be kind of hard to pull off, but if you can, it will be good. Moving on, next we have the Wreck Hunter. It's a pretty good card, actually. 2 black for a 2/2 flash. Enters the battlefield, choose target player. You create a tap Power Stone token for each non-land card that player in that player's graveyard that was put there from battlefield this turn. Just the fact you can ambush Viper this thing in to kill something is kind of cool. But after a combat or a big wrath from somebody else, you could really ramp up with this. And be a mono black, it seems pretty sweet. Next, we have the Blast Furnace Hellkite, 2 red and 7 for a 5/5, has Artifact Offering. That means you may cast this spell, although it had flash, by sacrificing an artifact and paying the difference in mana cost between this and the sacrificed artifact. So you could very well play this for 2 red. And it has Flying, Double Strike. Creatures attacking your opponents have Double Strike. This thing is a powerhouse, especially since you can offer an artifact to it to make it almost cost nothing. You could easily play this on turn 3 or 5. Yeah, because there's nothing like, tapping your mana rock and then sacking your mana rock to get extra mana out of it to make this big nappy. Then we have Farid, Enterprising Scavenger, red 2 for a 3/3. Whenever a non-token artifact you control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, create a colorless artifact token named Scrap. Now, for a red and 1, you can sacrifice an artifact and choose one. Put a +1/+1 counter on Farid. It gains menace until end of turn. Go target creature or discard a card, then draw. So the cool thing about this is as your stuff gets destroyed, this is on the battlefield, you get scrap tokens that you can sacrifice to do all these extras abilities. And just making this thing huge with a +1/+1 counter every time someone kills an artifact is pretty sweet. Next, we have the Hecavus, 6 colorless for a 0/0. It's flying, enters the battlefield, 6 +1/+1 counters on it. 1, remove a +1/+1 counter and put a flying counter on the other target creature. Or 1, remove a counter from another creature you control and put a +1/+1 counter on Hecavus. Not the best thing in the world, but I mean, it's a thing. Kyla's Music Box, 2 colorless, white, tap, look at the top card of your library, then exile it face down. You can look at it at any time. Tap it again for free. Until end of turn, you may play cards you own exiled with the Music Box. This is a good way for white decks to mill through their deck and put cards into a safe space that can't be messed with and you can actually access later to play. However, this artifact, once it goes away, means you lose access to all those cards, so you be careful about that. Next here we have the Machine God's Effigy, 4 colorless. You may have the Effigy enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact and has tap, add blue. So pretty much of a Suvin that taps for mana for some reason. Scavenger Brawler, 6 colorless for 4/4 flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, all the keywords. For 5, you can exile it from the graveyard, choose a creature, put 4 counters on it, a flying counter, put 4 +1/+1 counters, a flying counter, a vigilance counter, a trample counter, and a lifelink counter on it as a sorcery. You basically can mold this onto a whole nother creature once it's in the graveyard. Seems good. We have Smelting Vat for 4, 1 and tap. Sacrifice another artifact, reveal top 8 cards of your library, put up to 2 non-creature artifact cards with total mana value less than or equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value from among them onto the battlefield, the rest in the bottom of the random order. This will be really cool in those artifact ramp decks, which might be popping up because it seems like we got a lot of synergy for that going. To pop this bad boy off and mill through 8 cards of your deck by sacrificing a big fat artifact and putting some serious grotesquity onto the battlefield. Is that a word? Grotesquity? Anyway. Thopter Shop, 3 colorless artifact. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control die, draw a card. This ability triggers once each turn, so free draw is always sweet. And for a white and 2, you can actually make a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token that will let you draw when you chump block with it. This card seems amazing for 3, because that's really the ceiling on it. As long as you get the 3 mana, you're good, as long as there's a plains in there somewhere. So it seems like a great card. Now we have the Wondrous Crucible for 7. Permanents you control have War 2. Okay. Beginning of your end step, mill 2 cards and exile a non-land card at random from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. This is disgusting. Anything that does free casting is broken. This is probably going to see lots of play, especially in Commander. Even though it's 7 mana, just the ability to do that is really going to be powerful, because digging around in your graveyard is always a good way to break stuff. Next, we have Sardarian Avenger, red and 1 for a 1/1 first strike trample. Funny. When it attacks, it gets +X/+O, though, till end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts your opponent controls. Woo boy. Whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, the Avenger deals 1 damage to that player. Seems like a great powerhouse for the old Commander format. Next, we have Brothers War, red and 3. Does not have read ahead. That apparently was only a thing once. 1, create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens. Okay, so 4 mana ramp spell, which turns into choose 2 target players until the end of next turn. Each creature those they control attack the other chosen player if able. That's funny. And then Brothers War deals X damage to any target and X damage to any other target, where X is the number of artifacts you control. This seems amazing and hilarious in a Commander deck, just because you can just create so many shenanigans. Finally, we have Urza's Workshop. So it's a land, add for colorless. If you have Metalcraft, which if you remember that as 3, I think that's 3 artifacts in play, add 1 colorless for each Urza's land you control. Activate only if you control 3 or more artifacts, i.e. Metalcraft. Seems really good considering how many Urza's lands are now available. Not just the original Urza's, but there's new Urza lands in Brothers War. So there's probably going to be an Urza land commander deck possibly popping out the woodwork, but hey, who knows? And then finally we have these little fellas here. This here is the Root Path Purifier. A green and 3 lands you control and land cards in your library are basic. I don't understand what that means or why we need that for a 3/4, but anyway. Titania's Nature's Force, 2 green and 4. You may play Forest from your graveyard. Whenever a forest enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/3 green artifact or elemental creature token. Whenever an element you control dies, you may mill 3 cards. This thing for 6 mana is just a creature machine. This with the other green cards lets you play more than 1 land a turn is a great way to start making 5/3s repeatedly throughout your turn. Staff of Titania. 2 colorless equipped creatures +X/+X, where X is the number of forests you control. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 1/1 green forest dryad land. So also it's ramp, plus it makes your stuff bigger. Then we have the Archmandrite, whatever that means. White, red, blue, and 2. Human Advisor. At the end of your upkeep, you gain X life, where X is the number of cards in your hand -4. Whenever you gain life, each advisor, artificer, and monk you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+O in a turn, where X is the amount of life you've gained. Tap 3 untapped advisor, artificers, and or monks you control to draw a card. Very interesting. And then finally, we have the Disciple of Kalias Nin. White and 4 for a 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player chooses up to 5 permanents they control. All permanents other than Disciple that were chosen this way phase out. Permanents can't phase in. Ooh, pretty rough. So, with that said, guys, that's all the cards listed in the Commanders that will come out with Brothers War for Mishra and Urza decks. Obviously, there's going to be other cards and other reprints in those decks, so people watch out for what that'll look like. Might even do a value video later if you guys want to see something like that or even care. So, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I do appreciate it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comments down below, feeds the YouTube algorithm. And thanks for subscribing, and those who are subscribed, I appreciate the views. Also, don't forget links to the eBay store in the description, the Patreon, and my email if you just want to reach out and say hey, or just ask to buy a little something because, I don't know, sometimes I like to make money. With all that said, guys, You have a good weekend, and until next time, be kind. And I hope to see you across from the game table.